Greetings, Lango fans. We are back for another series exploring Ghanongga, also called Kubokota language of the Solomon Islands. I'm Peter.
I'm Tyler.
And we're going to go ahead and resume with our exciting exploration into Ganoqa. I say exploration because it is new for us,
and
not new for people who speak Ghanongga, or if you are one of the linguists in the world who has studied this language before, then I'm just unbelievably flattered that you're watching this video. Please tell us what happens. Go ahead and spoil it. Send us an email. Let us know. Otherwise, we'll just continue looking at Ghanongga here.
And what we're doing is we're using this program called Flex, which stands for Fieldworks Language Explorer. You can just see that. And that helps us not just understand what each sentence means, but we can break every word into its meaningful parts. I say break, that's not the best word. We're building the words from the ground up is what this lets us do mentally.
Kind of like a deconstruction, like this part of the word means this. This part of the word means this, and so on.
We'll see plenty. Yeah, we're still identifying single words and building up phrases as well as we go.
Yeah. And for something like Muna and Mina, we also noticed Mana, we start to have to, it starts to be useful to bounce outside of Flex for a second.
Right, yeah, we have. So we're working from a single bilingual text, a story that is in Ghanongga with an English translation. And we're trying to figure out everything we can about the grammar of this language doing this. Now, to me, it looks like mana means I when I am an agent primarily, and muna means you as agent, and the na might be an ergative marker.
So I think a little differently, and I have organized very similarly, though, I should say, like the difference is a hair splitting difference. Here I have organized all the examples of mana without any glossing. I just put them in a little Word doc. It's tedious work, so I didn't want to put this in the video. You just, how you do it is once you have made your text, like we have it here in this sheet, then you go and you use a find function, such as Control F for this Google Doc. And then you just kind of put them in there. Now we have one instance of ma there that's not correlating with anything, but it might be that these two manas are the only thing.
Yeah, that ma could just be a word that sounds similar.
There's going to be a lot of homophony. We predict that, and we're already seeing it. So homophony means when two words have the same form but different meanings. So examples from English are the number two, the preposition to, as in I gave the ball to Bill, and to meaning also. I like pizza too. So those are all homophones in English, but they are certainly distinct words despite the fact that they have the same form. So when you look at mana, it really lines up to I will. So you get first person and future. When you look at Muna,
yeah, you go. So imperative's there, but that'll also have a future meaning. I'm telling you to do something. Well, it's imperative in the English, may not be imperative in Ghanongga.
Yeah,
you will go,
like
you will sit.
The ones you want will be. So there's Mina, which is probably the one will be. That's probably third singular or something. Will be, because Kole we know exists. Muna lao, so you will go. You will sit.
Yumu is sit, yep. Munambuku ko munambuku. You will drink so that you will drink dry, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one means drink. And then munu betu.
Oh, probably. I'm pretty sure mbuku is drink.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Because, well,
well, just in this one sentence, you sit and drink and drink. We have two mbukus.
Yeah, we've got multiple munas. Muna betu. I think that means you will finish.
Fish or finish?
Finish. Beto meaning finish.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I agree. Yeah. Until it's done, until you finish. Yeah.
Muna batia, you will see multiple times.
That's right.
Munabati, you'll see.
See them.
Yeah, Munalao, you'll go,
Good stuff.
or whatever Lao means. I can't remember.
No, that's go. Yeah.
All right.
Seems to be, at least I'm pretty sure it's go. Feel pretty confident.
La is pretty common for something with go in lots of Austronesian languages.
Nice, very nice.
So, and here I was just organizing how things were, but there's mana.
Yep.
Although we had this already with I, so that's a different one.
That's the same example. So that ma at the beginning of it, let me just mention in the sentence we have that one day. It says one day, the third sentence at the very beginning. That one day phrase seems to be something like rane maka rane with maka. So maybe something to do with one or with day. One tomorrow, one future day, one day from now could be. It might not be pronominal is my point. So I don't know any languages where you use one form of a pronoun for one tense, unless Hindi does that. I've learned a little bit of Hindi. Hindi uses different alignment systems in the different tenses or aspects or something. But I haven't gotten that far in my study. So this is something new for me to see.
So I guess we already got you will sit, you will drink for Muna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we have Mina, and I guess I have thought when I was putting this together that Mina might mean they will exist, but we actually don't know if Mina is they will or third singular. We don't know if it's singular or plural yet when it comes to Mina, right? And this is exactly the sentence we're looking at here. So this sentence is a pretty special one, I think. It gives us quite a bit of the things we want to know. So Gadi Guni probably seems, they said to him. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Guni, and we're going to start giving Guni a go. So if we
they said to him.
did that, it will guess it.
That's very nice. Said to him.
Said to him, and that's what we'll guess is going on there.
So here we see what flex lets you do. Got a single word, and we feel pretty confident it has two meaningful parts, so we can identify them and tie them to items in a dictionary.
Now I have a proposal for Muna, Mina, etc. that we leave it as one chunk. And we call the whole thing, for example, two singular, or this is two plural, I believe. So that's actually one thing. You got to remember he's talking to, no, they're talking to one person. It has to be two singular. It's the giant we're talking about now. This is where the context of the story has to tell us a lot. It's the three brothers, I'll go back to gloss to make it easy to see.
Yeah. Okay.
The three brothers, they said to him, the ones you want, and they are talking to one person now. So if we're pretty certain this is plural, the Mina is the one we don't know if it's singular or plural. We get it twice though here. We get it right down here again.
It's a dry spit.
I think probably the reason they're saying the ones you want will because Mina is singular. That's my guess.
But that didn't make sense. Oh, that's the you part. Okay.
No, it's the reason the ones you want will exist. The one will exist. Because down here, you sit and drink till it's a dry spit, till it will be dry.
Oh.
So Mina is right there, and it's not talking about multiple streams. It's talking about a single stream. And I think that's the reason they said one, even though they made it plural, is they're giving us a hint in the translation.
Now, let's look at that first word there, voto. I have a suspicion that it means things or the ones or something, some kind of nominal or something that, well, it's like a placeholder for a noun, not a pronoun, but thing which.
I wonder what
Let's do a quick. Zana, I bet, is going to be possessive.
I would think that should be the third singular future.
Okay, it could also be that, but I
don't know. I don't know, because we get the za right there. So when it comes to Mina and Zana, I don't really know what's going on. Now, if we go back to, let's put a pin in 7.8 for a moment.
Well, before we do, can we just grab the low-hanging fruit and identify the roots that we know? So like numu being sit. So pretty sure because the more words we fill in, the easier it'll be to fill in these gaps. Numu is sit. We can convince ourselves in the spreadsheet if you like.
Would you like to call ko so?
So is a pretty good one in order that, yeah, something that we can give it multiple glosses to.
So in order to.
Maybe so that or something.
And Muna is future. Buku.
Drink.
Yeah, because you get buku twice. You will drink.
Tinganai is dry, I'm pretty sure.
It says drink and drink. So they're giving us a pretty good hint there.
Let's identify.
Yep. All right. I agree with you. I'm thinking Numu is sit.
And that U could be an echo vowel. We could just have a CVC root showing up this way.
I think that when we're getting two-syllable words that we're never getting echo vowels.
Why is that?
It's my intuitions from studying a lot of Proto-Oceanic that Proto-Oceanic seem to prefer two-syllable words.
Right, okay.
They could end in consonants at Proto-Oceanic level, but the modern Oceanic languages usually so you'll find like words that end in consonants are somewhat common in Micronesian, but they're one-syllable words because they have smashed things down. Whereas in, say, Eastern Oceanic languages, such as Polynesians languages, they will typically delete that final consonant from a two-syllable word.
Let's add the drink. Let's add the drink verb too as we're going.
Since we got it, yeah. They tended to add this echo vowel that we're seeing, at least the ones that I know about. So,
all right. Two-syllable word structure is a very good reason to think that it's not an echo vowel.
Yeah.
Now, as I was just mentioning, you can give a single word multiple definitions in your dictionary. And this one is very flexible. Yeah, let's just call it so for now. Some sort of.
We'll call it so. And maybe we'll click over to our.
It's probably the most frequent word in the text.
And we'll just write a better definition right here. Right?
Okay, yeah. You can flesh it out. So that in order, yeah. So it's not necessarily that it's a shared subject. So that something else happens.
A discourse particle is what I'm going to put there for now, till we know more.
Okay.
You like that?
Sure. Works great.
Okay.
Muna.
I'm not going to deconstruct the na anymore.
All right.
Just going to leave it because I don't know. And I'm going to call this two singular future.
Okay.
But I might also put dot subject because I know that this is reserved for subjects. So this is combining kind of person marking, grammatical relations, and aspect or tense.
Pretty cool.
We're calling this future, but we don't know for sure it's a future tense. It might be like some sort of aspect for incompleted, something that hasn't happened yet. It should be hard for our English ears to know the difference. Maybe hard for your ears, but I'm joking. All right. Two singular future. I'm going to leave it like that for now.
And so a whole lot is going to be filled in green when Flex has a guess about a word because it has a matching item. It's going to show that in that turquoise-ish color. I'm pretty sure Tinganai there is dry. About the middle. Yeah, at the end of that line there. Muna Mbuku Tinganai.
Well,
we have I think we have two instances of it. Yesterday, I put it in my notes. I felt pretty confident about it.
Search it in the story of the clam right quick. I'm just going to copy word.
It's a dry spit.
It is an interesting word, tinganai.
It is. I think so too.
Because if the tingan is the root, a would be an echo vowel. And then E would be some sort of
Radical substance.
what I wanted there.
If you search for the English word dry, DRY, you get 2 hits. And that Tinganai is in both.
Oh, it is not letting me take Tinganai the way I want to. Yeah, it gives me Tinganai twice. And dry does happen twice.
Was it properly dry? So we're going to get negative with that one.
Do we get something right before we get Tinganai? Zake Matilea looks like wasn't properly dry. Would we get Mati here at all in our flex file? Well, not really. I don't know. I'm holding out on Tinganai, but we're going to have to start making a guess eventually.
Do you have a guess for what the word spit is in this one that's present in flex?
It's got to be Pindili Tue or something like that.
I think the Tue would be echoic. I think it's mimicking the sound of spitting.
Tue. So if you think it's a onomatopoeia?
Something like that.
I am surprised they used the word dry spit because I don't know what that means other than that it's dry and in the context must mean not a dry river. Let's see if we can solve any more in this sentence here. It looks like 2 or 3 sentences there.
You feel confident about the dry word though? Should we go ahead and idea it?
No, I'm gonna look at we get Tinganai here again.
Paragraph 8, yep, there it is.
And so if we can solve a little more here.
All righty. He went till he saw the deep pool.
Okay, so I feel a little more confident about Aza now. How about you?
Wouldn't say so. But you mean it's until?
No, Aza. Right here. Well, I think now I'm looking at Aza.
Oh, that it's he? That it's a pronoun thing?
Yeah, it's third singular pronoun, not the agreement. This is the free pronoun.
The pronoun, okay. All right. And this is a past clause. That would be oh yeah, because it's got za in there. So how is it different from za? That it's about the past?
If you notice that za, so we get za in the same thing. So I don't think za nor aza is carrying tense. I think that what's going on in the story is that they're telling it in present tense, understood through context as past tense. And that the za is the actual agreement particle. And there's this thing called pronominal agreement, which is you can get an agreement pronoun, but then you don't get the free pronoun. Right. So if you get za, you wouldn't get za buku aza ever. Right. You're not going to get both of them together. You'll get one of them. So for example, in this language that I also speak called Portuguese, you can get the second person singular as a kind of agreement on the verb. So for example, chiamu. Chi is second singular. Amu is I love, present tense. You could say eu, I, chiamu, but I couldn't say eu chiamu você. I've heard that
those clash, those are grammatically different.
There's some sort of restrictions in Portuguese on amo você, but for the poor, because you feel like,
it's a bit odd.
Yeah, there's some restrictions, is my understanding.
Okay.
But for the sake of this, my point is that in typically speaking in true agreement patterns, like eu, chiamu, you can get the free pronoun eu, and then you still get the first singular agreement on the verb. It's no problem.
Right.
But when you're getting this thing called pronominal agreement, it means the pronoun is moving to become an agreement particle. Well, that's a theoretical way of explaining it.
Sure.
Simply descriptively put, you don't get both.
So for us here, walk me through it again. How is that from Aza?
So we have some good reason to think that the language has some verb initial patterns.
Yes.
But what we're getting a lot is kind of some sort of subject agreement right before the verb. Now, if we looked at that as a full subject, then we're getting SV subject initial patterns, like subject verb patterns and verb subject patterns.
That's right. Okay.
If
So
we
when
suppose that one is pronominal agreement, the one that comes before the verb, then we get go see him, this stuff. And
he
bachi,
did,
which often takes an object, doesn't take an object because this is behind a prepositional phrase, pa, locative. So this whole thing, whatever he's going to go see, I guess that deep pool is big.
I think it's going to be the deep pool. Yeah.
Yeah. This is going to be the subject, aza. And it'll be the subject in a free pronoun.
Okay.
And
I
this is
see it.
essentially an intransitive because it's an intransitive that takes a complement that is a prepositional phrase. Like, I walk to the park. Or look, I look at the TV. Versus I watch the TV. You watch the TV, that's transitive. Not super important for the listener at this point, but you may start to care about this stuff at some point. So bringing it up a little bit. And that's what I think is going on with this Aza here. And that would buy us stuff in other places too. Now, why are we getting...
Let's create it.
I agree.
Go for it. I agree, Mend marker.
Three singular. So what I need to do is change my za to three singular.
Yeah. Let's do that next.
This is going to be full-on pronoun.
Yeah. Okay, I'm digging.
So now I'm going to go find our za. I'm going to
yes.
on it. We're going to update. This only occurs as subject agreement. And so far we've noticed that, yeah, we're looking for, is the subject of an intransitive verb treated the same as the subject of a transitive verb, which is not something you would look for if you're only looking for languages that are like Latin.
Never occurred. That's right.
But in languages out in the Pacific and many other places in the world, there are a lot more possibilities than just what we get in, even in Indo-European languages. In a language like Hindi, you'll get a situation where the subjects start to look different.
That's right.
All right, now I'm actually pretty happy with that. That bought us quite a bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
now
good.
We still got that dry one to think about. That. What were you wanting to confirm that it's dry?
My problem here is zake matilea looks like, we know that's the negation, zake. It's not. And Leia should be like well.
Okay.
So, well, the adverb, which means like well done or whatever. So they're saying wasn't properly dry. Hard to not look at this and think wasn't properly dry. Now, not PA. If we can figure out more words.
I think Pia is the stream. Let's confirm or disconfirm that then.
And we get PA down here for stream. Yeah, let's go ahead and search PA in our file here. Do we ever get it not talking about a stream?
So stream there, edge of the stream.
Okay, so we're identify the same sentence.
The edge word, stream, ready to take. Yeah, edge of...
Yeah, I would say PA means stream. Pretty hard to deny that, especially since we got this small sentence.
Right, those are especially helpful at this stage where we are now, and it's near the end of the sentence.
Yeah.
Nyoa.
Pricked him, so a stream of water started from there.
Different kind of stream, but the same idea of flowing is there. Yeah.
Nyoa. Wait, did we get nyomu for drink?
Oh, new, different.
Okay. I was like, we got a crazy thing going on. No, maybe not. Nyumu, because if we got, let's say our minds are very open to what may be going on here. Although I am definitely on board with PA as stream.
Good.
I think it's a noun.
I do too.
I'm happy to see. Hell, is it flowing like a... No, not PA means it's a stream. Yeah, it's taken a lot of noun morphology. And always we can go back and say, well, we don't know what it means.
In English too, we have a stream, but also to stream, the very same word form, doing both functions.
Yes, English is
Getting
actually
more and more
English is a pretty good example of a language where words can jump word class pretty quickly.
more so than our sister languages. Yes,
You can turn nouns into verbs basically instantly in English, and people will always know what you typically will know what you mean.
you can verb them.
You can turn a brand new noun into a verb. You could turn someone's name into a verb.
That's right. We do it all the time. Yeah,
We sure do. All right. We've got Zana A. We've got Zana twice now.
And Naza also occurs. That was one of those mirrors,
Well,
similar to.
Nasa means what? I
It
think
can. I think it also has other functions too.
I think it's maybe historically connected, but not modern. Not a modern connection. Now we've seen this not does a bunch of different stuff. We have it as both an article and a possessive. And then it's carrying a future meaning and stuff well. So na is just going to do a lot of work and have a lot of homophones, so to speak.
One of the easiest syllables to produce. It's right there at the tongue tip in its resting position.
Sounds cool. We all like it.
Yeah, like you were saying.
All right. So this sentence down here, the second one, 9.1 with stream, is a little smaller, and we get something we quickly recognize, tobakia. Now, we don't recognize what tobakia necessarily means right off the bat, tobokia, tombokia, but we do recognize this ia, and we feel probably pretty happy that
it's a verb with a third singular, with a third person object. That might be the pricking one. Or is it fly?
Hard to know because we get
one instance
right before it. What's that?
You know what? It's probably not fly because look, we have that past marker there in this as the second word of the sentence. So the verb is probably there's a verb before that if it conforms to the pattern we've seen.
Tatava
is going to be a fly, likely.
A honey eater. So probably Natigisi is the honey eater.
I guess.
So maybe flew the honey eater.
Mm-hmm.
Is a honey eater, is that a hummingbird?
I don't know if it's that. Honey eater bird, yeah, it started to produce something.
We'll see if we can find the actual.
How nice. Cute little guy.
What did I misspell? Oh, I did two N's instead of two G's. I gotcha. So they are telling us quite literally what it is. The Solomon Islands is unique among countries of the world that they have, I guess, the most islands where the most species of birds that only exist on a particular island. So you'll get an island and they'll have a couple of species of birds that only exist on that island. There's apparently even like a rat that only exists on one island, crabs, all sorts of neat stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and guess Tatava is honey eater. Not putting it in yet, just keeping it in mind. And
Tatava's the bird. You mean Tigizi? That's the noun position there.
Right. Sorry. Tatava is probably fly. Tigizi is probably honey eater.
Remember that tu occurs. It's right after a verb making it past.
Yep.
And we also get a form. We get an elaborated form tugu.
But tugu might be something different.
It could certainly be. Yeah.
Just don't know. I'm kind of thinking tugu means also.
So compromise, synthesis. The who part could be the part that carries the also meaning, and tu could be the same past marker. Seems like a likely fusion to me. Let's keep going with identifying though, as we're
all right.
thinking.
So what I want to say here is Iapana. Iapa is probably belly. And na is inalienably possessed as a body part.
Yeah, exactly. The inalienably possessed one. Let's do that.
Iapa. So that's the one I'm most confident about on this list so far. And we'll get to a point where we'll have very few words left.
Wait. Don't create that entry. The na is not part of the lexeme. Now we may.
Iapa. And we want to call this stomach or belly?
Let's just say belly.
I dig it. Just use exactly.
Stomach is actually an internal organ that's a little higher up. The belly is the abdomen,
I agree.
to my understanding.
I'm going to call it a noun, though.
Feels now.
I'm less interested in what word class might mean here. So we get ko ani twice.
Oh yeah. Ko ani I. So ko ani. Ko ani. Honey eater with a sharp beak flew into his belly and pricked him so a stream of blood. So
Ani is
flew the honey eater so that it went tombokia. That looks, yeah, as we said, that's going to be pricking him. Feel pretty confident. What were you saying?
So I'm not certain here, but I think ani is some sort of demonstrative, like there. So we get the na ni meaning it type thing.
Yeah, ni seems to have sort of a dative function a lot to him.
So we get kind of a neat thing here with aza, ani, and the one I just said just a second ago.
Ani and ni, aza and za. Yeah.
Yeah. And adi for plural.
Now, before we go on, in the box that is currently highlighted in Flex, let's make it say his belly, because that is what the word form shows. Has a possessor. There's not just disembodied bellies out there. It's belonging to a certain being.
I do think I might be a contraction of azai. Not extremely confident. I think our best guesses are probably Tigizi is honey eater.
Yep.
So rate that.
Do it.
Very cool name.
Can you put a dot in between?
Yeah. Honey eater. I assume it's a noun, but doesn't. I guess I'm putting noun here for old time's sake, but not because it's very important anymore.
I just kind of, for a lot of my work in Flex, I would just identify the class because the not sure label is not as fun to look at. It's much cooler to have, much cooler to have a single letter, everything pinned down. You can always revise it later.
So I think Tatava is fly.
You know what? We need to identify the sharp beak. Maybe could be just part of the noun. Maybe it says in the English, a honey eater with a sharp beak. Maybe that's just specifying which honey eater. Maybe there's other kinds too. Maybe it's a specific.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good idea.
We may not actually have a phrase that means sharp beak. There doesn't seem to be, from what we do know here.
So then if we had to guess, Tombakia is pierce it.
Yeah.
Pierce it, the belly.
So that
there, Nyoa is start a
stream. A little odd that Tombokia is there and then a ko phrase is introduced. So that.
Went and pierced it. So that the
pierced
belly.
It so that belly then something. There's a lot of so that. Start.
So next speech in people may choose different ways to connect speech that might not be how we do it in our culture, but even though it's possible in their culture, so I assume they have relative clauses, but I'm not seeing a relative clause marker. Are you? Unless I can't figure out if any of these are. Do you want to go ahead and say Tombokia is pierce or be agnostic for now?
Let's make it as pierce. Let's do it. And ia is not part of the verb itself. We'd expect to see tomboko or tomboko. Perhaps. I wouldn't be surprised to see it fit into our pattern. That's a verb. Pierced. Pierce it, yeah. Go and pierce it, so that's serial construction again.
Yeah, and then there we get the
Subject agreement, yeah.
Subject agreement coming before it. So that's nice. As for Nyoa, I am just not that confident. It means something like start or
I
begin
agree.
or something, but I don't know.
The only other nyo we have is in a non-related word.
Yeah, because I'd like to say Nyoa has third singular agreement or something too.
Yeah, yeah.
But we haven't seen the E deleting in this context, so we would probably be looking for Nyoia, especially knowing that this would be the only. Now we get Lao is probably one syllable, I guess. I'm guessing it's like a diphthong.
Could
Lao.
be. I could see it as two syllables really
Lao.
well. Hard to know just looking at letters on a page.
If it is two syllables, Lao and Mai would be the only two that I would predict would be one syllable verbs.
I see. I see.
So
Oh, you say my is a verb. We've glossed it as a directional toward me this way.
you say tomato, I say directional.
Indeed. Yeah, that's right.
What's in a name? It does multiple stuff. I believe that this Lao here is probably, this is where things get fuzzy. It is exactly have the form of a serial verb construction, which is extremely common in Oceanic. You stack verbs up. We do something like this in English with our particle paths, as Hadros would call them. So back up in around the corner, I found some Cheerios is his famous sentence. So back up in around, you stack these up, and in English you get like a you see a path with it, and this kind of path making happens. It's rather famous actually in Micronesian languages. People have worked on it quite a bit.
Cool.
I'm going to go back to gloss right quick. I'd like to go back to the first sentences.
Yeah, by all means. I'm happy to.
Because I think we know what Nana and Dia mean now.
All right.
So I would say that Nana is that the second na is the possessive, and this is like the third singular his, her, its when it stands by itself.
Okay, that would be good. Yeah.
But that in this case, it means there, like a dummy subject. There's a giant. That's why there's no object agreement or anything, because it's not really agreeing with an object. It's just like there was a giant. There is not. In English, I think that you can say like there is beer in the fridge, or there is a pizza in the oven, right? And there it is raining. What is it? These are empty subjects. I believe that's what's going on with Nana and Dia there, only that one is indicating plural and one is indicating singular. So I am still a bit tempted to gloss this as third singular possessive.
Yeah.
But then call it.
Let's look for some more nanas. 7 hits. In fact, in the title of the story, we have a nana. Story of the clam.
And in the word gloss, I'm going to call it there. What do you think?
Well, no objection.
It exists. And then Kole and Dia. So all the differences going on is that Dia is written as attaching to Kole and Nana is not. We can't really hear the language currently. We don't know a speaker. So we can't really say for sure, like, are these really 2 words? Are they 1 word? And even if we could go and find a speaker, they may not be clues.
Right.
Like we'd be looking for some sort of stress shift or something, because we aren't getting consonants touching each other. And for that matter, not really vowels either. Then we don't. Vowels touch internally to a word, but not so often in between words. A little bit. We get maka, iliganigani, but so we're not getting such great evidence to know where a word begins and ends just from the orthography. So we're just going to go ahead and trust the people who wrote it, which was native speakers.
Right.
Say Nana for some reason doesn't attach too heavy or something, and Dia does. And I'm gonna I think it's time for us to update Dia.
Okay. If we could talk to one native speaker, they might give us a definitive answer. But then if we found a second native speaker, they might tell us something else. Then what do we do? We're in the same position.
So
as grammarians, we have to sort of make our own calls on a lot of these.
I'm also thinking this probably isn't a suffix normally. So because we already have a suffix D, and we've seen it act like a suffix everywhere. We've only seen dia act like a suffix in this one place.
So you want to change the morph type.
I'm going to change the morph type.
We're going to metamorph it.
Oh, how am I going to do this?
Just say show all types if you want more labels.
Stem, discontiguous phrase, enclitic, inflex, phrase, prefix, enclitic.
This type of thing, Flex makes you choose. You can't be unsure here.
I wish we could. Wish we could go back and choose nothing. I guess we'll call it a
down stem
or a root. What is going to be the difference between root and stem in this situation? Any idea?
I might call it a. I'm not sure what you think the function is of it. So all you.
I think it's a kind of more like a particle thing that goes in the noun phrase typically, and right here is acting like a whatever. I wouldn't.
We'd call it a particle.
Not an option though. Oh, there it is. Sorry.
Problem solved.
We'll leave it. And what's cool is, so I'm going to update this as gloss 3pl dot pause is the new gloss. We'll go back to the text and words. So now it's not acting like a. With this way of treating it, Flex is more treating it like a compound than a suffix. And I think this will work well for us. And again, we're going to reach a point where we can't answer any more words in this story, and we're going to have to start working on the next story and then go back and figure out what's happening here. I'm going to go ahead and do the word gloss. There were.
All right.
Or now that exist.
I might link it with that following tuhu, and for the beto, I might say and then or something, or just and in this instance. But you're in charge.
I think I'm not gonna link it so that I'm not committed to any sort of syntactic analysis, but I do think that's probably somehow how it works. The beto cole is probably a serial verb construction, and that kind of thing doesn't translate so well to English.
Yeah, right.
And that tugu, this is actually what's starting to make me think tugu is also. There was a giant. There were also 3 words. And there was also 3 youths. Now we only get one instance of ka. Let's look at tugu right quick and see what other instances of tugu we get. And can we... Now, if you're watching this video, what we want to do now is rule out also. We want the best evidence that tugu cannot mean also. We only need a single good piece of evidence for that. So I'm going to Control F. I'm going to go make this full screen so it's easy to see. Oop, that didn't help me at all. I'm going to go back to where it was. Spin this just a little bit so I can see the edges of it. We're going to look for tugu. How did it find no tugus? We know that it's there. Oh, there we go. There we go. Looking for tugu. We get it 6 times. They gave him the clan's foot and he ate it. So does have a finished meaning, but I feel like it could also mean also. They gave him the meat, he ate. He also ate that. He also ate that. He scratched the ashes. Which one would this be? Also. No, they don't. This one could be, this tugu is, they ate their food. They, Gani ate, gained their food, but There existed also tepa ria, which I don't know what tepa means. Vaniza Gani Betu. Gani Betu must mean he ate all. You get two tugus there. He also ate all. So no, I can't rule out tugu as also, but it's not also the best evidence for the gloss. What if we reconsider it as having to do with some sort of perfect meaning?
Well, that would be in the two part.
That would be the two part. But we've had two as past tense. We could have two, something like past combined with complete gives you perfect, something like that.
Do we have ooze at the ends of things?
I think that the tugu meaning perfect or past tense here in this, and there were three youth sentences. I think this is not a very good guess at what tugu means, because we should get it in the first sentence instead of the second sentence if we're really.
What? Sorry, run that by me again, please.
So if tugu is really telling us this story happened in the past,
maybe. Okay.
Then we would. I don't know. I feel like we would, for discourse reasons, we'd want that to be introduced in the first sentence, not the second sentence, because otherwise the first sentence has to mean like there is a giant.
Well, so there were
three kids,
but the giant is the one that dies.
Yeah, so not totally sold on either meaning of tugu, but let's look at the. I looked at those when you had a small break. They ate their food. The giant was asking them to give till nothing was left. So they ate their food also. And the giant also, it doesn't exactly work. I hate to say it, I gotta have to leave it. I just don't know what's going on.
Well, we've got to be okay with that sometimes.
We've got a good guess though, I think, and also or some sort of perfect marker.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't likely fellows, so we should at some point get some evidence. And tugu is fairly common, not extremely uncommon, so we'll probably get it in the next story. All right. Now, Kenny has been plaguing us. What could Kenny mean? So they'd been out, they came back to cook their food over an open fire. Mule is returned, so they'd been out. Let's look at Kenny right quick and see if we can
Alrighty, go for it.
Figure out what's going on here. Let's go ahead and go to the first instance. Boom. The one we just saw. One day the three brothers went out to look for crabs. So when they'd been out, Kenny might be been out.
Or just out.
In this way, the giant dragged it out and ate it. Yeah.
Indeed. He outed it. Yeah. He
outed them.
Them. That's right. Okay. Put out, go out, take out. Kenny went out to look for them in that one. Very good.
And this one, I think.
Ko zalao batiria. In order to, he go look at them, look for them.
They were cooking a possum they had hunted.
Gandu it could be the hunting part, and Kenny could be going out there. There, they still were in the process of cooking. But then Gandua really has to be possum, I think. No. Well, Iga, could that be a possum? It seems a little short for a noun.
I think that, yeah, my instinct is that Iga is possum.
Okay.
And that Gandue Kenny is hunted out. And that Gandue Gandu is the verb for hunt.
Why would it be here?
And that Iga is pseudo non-incorporated.
Oh, nice.
And that A is an anti-passive marker.
Goodness. Wow.
That's just a guess. I'm not going to put all that in writing.
Sure.
Yes, because we're starting to see there's some pretty careful transitivity calculus in Ghanongga. It's important in every sentence to understand the transitivity. And this might reflect a historic importance or an importance that we have yet to discover because we don't understand the grammatical relations very well yet. So we see this A at the end. Let me see if I can find a way to search for verbs that end in A.
You do E space or E with other final punctuation on it. Yeah.
I did E space and it gives us 118 hits because of all the English.
English there. What we can do for that, if we copy this tab, just make a copy of this very tab, and we can delete the English column. We'll only have pure Ghanongga text.
If I just highlight the whole Ghanongga, can I control F that?
That doesn't, and that works in what's it called, Excel, but it doesn't work in Google Drive.
Okay, it doesn't work.
Sheets, but it's so easy to do. I'm just going to do it real quick. Ghanongga only.
Do it right quick and give us a look. Now, sadly, I'm seeing it after a bunch of verbs just looking. I mean, we might only, the thing is, in a story like this, we might only get it in one instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I'm rolling through right quick, I'm not seeing any other instances. It doesn't mean they're not out there, but I'm not seeing them other than Kue 3 and other things, things that we kind of think probably aren't doing that.
All right, you may need to refresh, but there's a new tab just for that.
A Ghanongga only tab.
That's right.
That's the copy of English Ghanongga.
I'm trying to update my machine. All right, yeah, looks good. The naming.
Only get 52, so we can go through these fairly quickly. This is Kue. This is Rane doing it to us. This is Mule. Azai. I believe Azai means so, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's a verb. I mean, it could. Intriguing possibility. There is multiple functions.
If it's a two-syllable ending in E, then we don't have very good evidence at all. We're looking for something beyond that, as if it's added on. I'm seeing no good evidence. We're about a quarter of the way through with all of our examples that have it. That one we got it twice with Azai and Kole. No, I'm not seeing any. In fact, if anything, this Toto Nai. But they're ending in the vowel I. So I think that that's probably not the same thing we're looking for. No, we're not seeing any good evidence for this at all. Seke Seke Zyu.
Yep.
No, so I'm gonna go ahead and guess that we just can't figure this quite out yet.
Yep, we will add other stories.
We'll add other stories. We'll have more guesses in the future. Once it may feel like, oh, if we don't answer it now, this will be a puzzle for the future. That's not the way it seems to work. The way it seems to work is the more and more and more you study it, the more insight you have into the grammar, and you can start to rule things out as you go. Okay. So where were we?
Well, wherever we pick it up, it's going to be
good. We don't have Ganguni, but we know how this works now.
I think that's for his food, something like that. Eat the leg as his food. Oh, they said, but why would that be there? I think it's a food word there.
That's right. That's right. So it is.
It happens to look like it could be that.
Yes, it is. That's right, because this was the how the turntables. Yes, I originally had thought this. We've noticed this tangu right there, etc. And then we have an idea that the Q and G metaphysized here, and that this was probably Yengu because we have other Yang words, which are
we have, yeah. Going to do space GE, so you only have the initial instances.
Yeah, Gangdi. There we get. So based on Gangdi, we have a pretty good idea what's going on. There we have Gangdi again. Gangdi again.
Their food.
Came back to cook them over an open fire. Out. Ooh, don't know what the...
Yei. for food could be an impersonal one. No, that's not any appropriate clause there.
I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. But so more questions arise nonstop. This is gay cole. Why I don't even know what this gay means. Sometimes I wonder, does the gay gay
that cole
is
in
exist?
that clause, that's the existing one. Yeah, you got it. Exist or be in a place.
And the azaria, ria we already have as plural somewhere. There we get a wild bati ria nana azaria. So that's a string of third singulars and third plurals all smashed together.
Yep.
It is not easy to figure out what is going on in this language. Yemu, there we go. Yemu must be your food. So if that's the case, then we do have good evidence that Ghanongga was probably the historic form, and we're getting. I'm going to go ahead and see if we got Gemu in here.
Oh, have it analyzed.
Yes.
5. Gemu. It's the sentence that begins with kai. So down a little bit.
There we go.
There, the quotes.
Now, how are we analyzing these other ones? Just we did Gangdi already. Let's check our dictionary so we can make them the same.
Yeah, we have there. Edible.
Okay, so we do have gay as edible.
Do you think it's related to Ghani?
Maybe.
It's a definite maybe, yeah.
I will put that in the maybe category.
But we're pretty solid on this one, yeah. Edible of yours. Now, with that mu and d marking on it, makes it look nouny to me.
I think you could get it.
Is it singular or plural? Because here he's talking to the 3 youths.
This is something that is a bit confusing about it, is that we know that ramu means 2 plural, right? We have not seen any really standing form for 2 singular, but when we saw muna, we were certain it meant 2 singular future, right?
You want to just call it second here?
What's that?
You want to just call it second instead of saying it's definitively singular or plural? Be vague about it. We just call it 2 or second, 2 and D.
We could. We don't get a ton of evidence yet, but what I think is going on is the same thing that happened in English.
Right.
That you get the plural, what the plural second becomes the first, or it becomes the second singular. Geez, I'm barely talking.
Right. We used to have this word thou that meant you, one person.
Yeah.
You was plural, and then became you formal, and the formal one was applied to everybody.
So I believe that gamu is preserving the historic second plural, and that in a lot of the grammatical function words, it's second singular. But I'm happy to put it as 2 for now. Now you notice we get it also as a standalone particle, like we get gay, we get mu by itself. Let me go ahead and show this right quick.
Blank space in.
Yeah, so
that's part of a word. Just do a space before.
Yeah, we get it twice. Mu Kenny, go find your own. Move on is you. No, you give a bit, he said. In that case, he is talking about 2 plural. He is. Or he might be talking to 1 brother. It's hard to know. But because we're getting thing, I'm just going to call it 2. I like your suggestion a lot.
Right. Don't be any more specific than is warranted. Yeah.
I'm going to call it 2 possessive, though, so that it looks like D and na. Leave that like that. And then edible. Go find your own.
Yeah, your food.
I'm going to call this your food. Okay.
Kenny is going out. That we said.
We can call it out. We can remain agnostic. Now, this moo, I'm going to call it to.subject. What do you think? I think it's the subject agreement particle. Here, I'll move so you can see.
Yeah. That sounds good.
And I don't know what the heck it is, so. Nyorogua. Nyorogu. Now, this Nyorogua, that's interesting because it couldn't be an echo vowel. Many interesting things. We like out for Kenny.
Let's do it.
And I'm going to put Kenny as out, and I'm not even going to say if it's a verb or noun. I have no idea. It could be a preposition, a particle path thing. It's so hard to know right now. But we are certainly populating quite a bit of our story here.
Yeah. Hold on there in 5-5. Do you think ago would be a word meaning if?
Disagree.
Okay, good. I like disagreement. It's a good way to find the truth.
I believe I know what it is.
Okay.
But you're not going to like it. Remember that za, aza alternation we saw?
Yes.
We're getting a mu, ago alternation. And this is the free pronoun, and it's been fronted, but it's not the subject agreement particle. Let's see if I can find any evidence for this story.
We have one other ago in what is 49.
Okay, so I'm pulling it up now. So you go, man. So you, fella. Does look like it, doesn't it?
Sorry, looking at my own.
It's in line 50 here, right? So you get goto, azamina, kole, pa, 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 pa. Muna, you will, lao, you. So that's, now this totally undoes my pronominal agreement story if it's truly a second singular pronoun, because there we get muna, lao, you go, you, man. But check it out, it says, so you go, man, and you sit.
And you sit, you go, man, you sit.
So, and we've seen a bit of stacking of, I want to say, like indexing type pronominal stuff. So maybe it's not that crazy. And maybe you only get the subject agreement in future tense or in certain aspects or something. And so maybe even this mu, when it's by itself, does have some sort of although notice you don't get mu and ago together, and you don't get za and aza together. So muna, while it contains the mu, it may be required to double up or optional to double up because it contains the tensor aspect. That's my hypothesis right now.
And that nyorogua, will that be to want? Will that be a form of the wanting verb?
Is it a true 3-syllable word? Nyorogu.
Either 3 or 4. It could be.
It might be the agreement suffix, the object agreement. Although we haven't seen him acting too much across so, but it might be like, if you want it, you go out and get your food. And maybe, maybe the ago is fronting because it's some sort of conditional. So we haven't seen these free pronouns fronting a lot, but that might be when it does it. And it's pretty cool then if that's true, because we get it after the verb lao down here. So finally, my best piece of evidence that ago is too singular, extreme cheating.
Knowing cognates.
Yeah, I just know a bunch of cognates in Western Samoan languages. I was looking for you. The pronoun you. I was looking for it. Where is it? And check this out. We get
Ah,
eagle.
look at that. Very nice.
Got a tigo bite you. So the go part is what really
Yeah.
carries you.
Okay.
That way we're getting a
Great.
pretty neat balance here with aza, za, mu, ago. Yes, the gu and mo, go and mu are switched or whatever, but you see the ego, the e was probably the transitivizer, just like ia, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So how do you feel about calling ago you?
Tremendous.
Now, if you are a viewer of this video and you are working on a language and you don't have the advantage of studying the language family, what I would say is that if the language you're studying is in a language family, appeal to the context. Try to learn about related languages. I don't mean you have to build a bunch of flashcards. If it's Austronesian, let me go ahead and do this gloss.
Yep.
I'm actually going to call this the pronoun. I feel that confident. I'm going to go with that extreme. And I'll use this small second to show you the Austronesian comparative dictionary right quick. If you're working on an Austronesian language, you'll be able to know because they've pretty much all been classified. So if you go to the home page, for example, which I believe introduction or something like that, I don't know how to take it back to home. In any case, you can go here, say you want to look at Ghanongga, you go to languages, look at G. We'll see, oh, they got Ghanongga right there. Maybe this is going to help us out. My dear mentor, Dr. Blust, has noticed a single Ghanongga word. It's not going to help us out that much.
Much to be filled in.
You might be able to notice other things that work, right? So we don't want to get too far into it because even I'm seeing here some things that might tip us off. So we've been trying to not appeal to it very much, but you might want to if you're working on your own, because sometimes you're going to get an insight into the text that it's going to be hard to discover from the text. As you see, we're struggling greatly with this stuff, so I had to appeal to it to figure out ago. And this, I think, was pretty good for us. Okay, let's go back and see if we can figure out a few more words. It's looking pretty good, though.
I think so.
Gosh,
That dai in 5-6, it's got to be the word for no somehow. Dai. But it's not related to the word that means not.
it's not, yeah, it's not negation, it's no. Yeah, so there's a difference between no and not. I agree with you on that. But before we move on to dai, do you think that we can figure out Nyorongu a? Do you think that Nyoro is its own word?
No, I think it's got morphology in it. The gu looks like an agreement suffix. So maybe it's not like the English want, where you want a thing, you subject, but it is pleasing to you, or it is appealing to you. You is the object. It would be my guess with that.
I think it's want it. I think it's a real 3-syllable word, but I don't have good evidence, so let's leave it for now then.
Okay.
We won't forget our suspicion here, because this gives us you want it. You want some?
But okay, in the word glasses, let's put in real words instead of the grammatical labels. So let's say you, and also for both ago and mu, let's just say you in blue, where it's visible there. Yeah, good. Do it there.
You.
Just if we ever wanted to print something off from here, it'll just be more user-friendly. And then the mu, same thing, if you would.
Okay, also,
In 5-5.
yeah, I'm going to do that, but we have a new idea on Zagwa, right?
Yep. All right. So,
do we like that?
I couldn't like it any more than I do. Yeah, that's right.
He
That's great.
said it.
And that's a special case, being a high frequency word and likely unstressed that it all fuses into one. Usually the subject is marked separately. Sometimes the object is two. But there are 3 parts, 1 word.
So in Roviana, they use wa a lot for quotative like.
Said it.
In similar stories. Yeah, he was like, they were like, whatever. But I do not believe the has a 3rd singular object meaning. And you never get zagwa. In fact, in the as far as I know, especially before I studied Ghanongga, I thought it was short for Zamagua because I have seen Zamagua. So when I saw Zagua, I was like, oh, they've just deleted the ma. No, it's very rich, and probably in Roviana they don't say Zagua because they don't do this pre-verbal agreement thing. Let's call. Oh, you wanted me to call something you, and I didn't do it.
Yeah, it's a couple lines up. Yeah, there. Mu Kenny for at the beginning of the line in 5-5. Change the blue. So for the purple stuff, if you want to edit that, that's in the lexicon, which is the dictionary section. But the blue line, word gloss, that's how you want it to appear in this one context.
I'm going to call die.
Now,
No.
later on, we see die as negation, but that's fine.
Now, I think that this might be, let's change it to lowercase d.
Also,
oh, gosh.
Well, this is fine. We can show people how to change. No. Keep it lowercase there, if you would. I think I've found this to be the most elegant way to do it. And then do a little space after that purple word. Or before or after, just kind of nudge it. But it won't no. Go to the third triangle icon. That one, variant of.
Let's go to the lexicon.
All right, also good.
Show another way to do this.
Yeah,
I'm
just go to your
look it up. My mistake. I put it in capital in case
what you can do that too. Yeah, just substitute it there.
Yeah. So there's a multiple ways to do it.
Yeah.
So in case the viewer wants to, there are multiple techniques.
Again, this software is free. That's right. We mentioned it in previous installments, but it's worth repeating if you're just watching this one.
If you're having a hard time keeping track of click this, click that, you can just go right back to the lexicon and do it. Yeah. I do think that,
so, you give a little bit.
Now this give.
Let's make that one say give me. That's what it expresses.
I think this give is transparently deconstructible.
Okay.
Let me see what examples we have in our story here. I'm going to put a space. We get va. Vagamu. Vagamu parogia. Okay. Okay. So the va isn't what I'm thinking there. Or it probably is, but vagambara. They said, man, there's heaps on the reef. Variva gambara. As I'm guessing, a whole thing. There's heaps. What is heaps? Okay, I'm gonna have to leave that for now.
Yeah.
Not finding any good evidence for my suspicions on va. Yes, gonna leave it for now. Too much guessing, too much cheating. Va Gorea. So he went and looked. No, this is a pretty good evidence. Except again, I have to cheat because I know what gore means.
Oh yeah, that was one I identified yesterday, last night, looking at this stuff. We have it intransitively, meaning go down, and transitively as to lower something.
Yeah. So which sentence is it in? Flex is taking a long time to load.
All right, I'll find them.
Okay, now I think I got it now. There's gorea.
That's right. That's the transitive one. He's lowering that body part.
Yeah, we got it. So what do you think is the difference between gore and gorea? How do you get go down to lower?
You transitivize it. You raise the valency, clearly.
That's right. So another way to say it is
positive.
To compare this to something we do in English, you can eat food, but you can feed a baby. Now, when you eat food, that's a regular transitive, but feeding, you actually increase, in a way, the transitive. You cause to eat. So going down versus causing to go down. This va is working how I predicted based on my knowledge of Oceanic and Austronesian.
Introducing a causative.
Let me ask you, how do you say die in Hawaiian? Do you know that already?
I do not.
Let's search for it right quick, just for fun. English to Hawaiian. What do you got, Google? Very nice. Die, you get make. from Proto-Austronesian or Proto-Oceanic, anyways, mate.
All right, yeah, I remember this from your data. Yeah, to kill will be vamake. Well, they
Oh,
don't have a V.
so it
Hawaii doesn't
doesn't
have
do it.
it has a W. Not here. That seems like a likely one that you get suppletion. Let's have like something burns and to set fire to or something maybe. If we just say burn, it won't know which one.
Oh my goodness, this one looks more like the Hawaiian one too. We'll go back to Hawaiian.
Mati.
Oh, we're not getting anything we're looking for. And it's not going to be exactly the same. Baka means cigarettes from tobacco, so I'm really not getting what I want to here. It's going to be.
Oh, I wonder if it would have been kapaka and the ka was reinterpreted as the article.
I need a real Okina here. Oh gosh, boy, I'm typing up a storm today.
The Okina character.
Yeah, give me what I want.
There it is.
I have to scroll down a second to see it. Okay, here's where I want. I can steal this character from this page, go back, put it in here. Still telling us empty. Well, I know that ha'a means causative in Hawaiian, though I cannot demonstrate it. It's something that I know. In fact, there's a saying, and I hope that if a Samoan listener hears this, they correct us on what I'm getting wrong, because I did not learn this from a book. I learned this more or less from social media and other things. To like do things the Samoan way is the fa'a Samoa, like to do it the Samoan way. In any case, paka is the Proto-Polynesian.
Oh, that will give va. Okay.
And the va, so it just is va in Western Oceanic, as far as I know.
So really, yeah. I was puzzling about this va last night. Or actually for quite a while. This va has been troubling me.
And when you look at the verbs that we already have identified va for, we get it for kill. We get it for give. Right. So these are.
Oh wow.
These are situations where historically it is a transitive or valency raising situation. Yeah. So give is like cause it to you. Cause it to third, essentially, vani.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to leave that. That's probably not active today. That was probably some historical process. So I'm going to go ahead and call va cause.
Oh, look at that. Okay, in paragraph 3. In this way, the giant dragged it out and ate it. Va kinindi gania. He
caused it out.
Caused it out.
He caused
so
it
really,
out.
Seems like a prefix, but kind of just separated in the spelling for some reason.
Yeah, I've seen it when it's used in Roviana. It's spelled oftentimes as a prefix, but sometimes not too. So it's there is a weird, I don't want to say weird, but like a careful balance here. People who speak their language as a first language often have intuitions about what's a word that are very hard for linguists to get to. But also sometimes they treat stuff as 2 words when it's not, because that's what they're used to doing. So both things are possible. Some of the most insightful things you can see into English is looking at the spelling of 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds who haven't been taught the way they say the word, and it is pretty good. I feel extremely bad when they have to learn the real way. The real way meaning the way you have to do it for academic purposes, but
so we should put those together in the cases where it's indicating causative. Well, I would just link them. Give a good English. Yeah. It's really more approaching an English
lowered it
recognizable structure, but then you can just break it down to as many parts as you need.
Lowered
it to go down.
Yeah. Okay. Caused ascended.
I had not recognized that. So knowing cognates is extremely helpful. Knowing related languages. It may also mislead you, but it'll give you a lot of good insight.
So we don't know what "ve" means yet, right? But we are pretty sure that the "ni" is probably to it. We don't know what "puja" means, but we get "puja ve ni" and "puja ve."
Yes, it's feet.
That's our best guess. That's where we were, I believe, literally on our last installment.
Yeah.
We were like, what is feet? I don't know. Well, we've made pretty good progress today, in my opinion. This is starting to look really filled up. We've got some big questions left. Did we not solve Muna? Let's make this one of our last. Oh, no, it's right there.
Yeah. Let's fix the word glass.
Boss just hadn't caught up.
Make it say you will.
Yeah. We've got a couple big puzzles left.
Yeah, for sure.
That we may have to start soon entering in the next story. Yeah. It's looking very good, though. I'm very happy. Zarake. Maybe that's Reef. Yeah, we've got some puzzles left. But one of the cool things is that all these stories in this book take place. It's not necessarily they all take place on the island of Ghanongga. It's not that it says that, but they take place in that universe. So we're bound to encounter words like giant and reef and claw and all this stuff again. So I think that we let's do this Leia E while we have it. Oh, it does doing a pretty good job. I have an idea what E means, but again, it's cheating, so I'm going to leave it for now. I've done a little bit too much of this cheating, so we'll leave it.
You did mention transitivity marking.
Yeah, I have another suspicion on that, but
okay,
we'll leave it till we really know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that will probably be it for our, I believe this is our 8th video on Ghanongga. And we'll probably do 500 videos before we understand anything. So keep tuning in, and we will keep, tearing our hair out, trying to figure out what's going on in this language. With that, see you next video.